I'm going to tell you guys what I'm working on for you right now. If you're a subscriber to the Peter Leeds newsletter, there's two things going on. There's one mania that is now fading back, and then there's another anti-mania, where the report I put out, two things. We're talking about gold, we're talking about technology stocks. And as you can see, I'm on the road right now at my girlfriend's house in Detroit, and I usually lose a day in the travel time there, so just bear with me. I'm working on my own here. So you have this mania. When I put out the report about the 12 high technology stocks that I like a lot, I'm going to do another review of all of those and tell you where we're at with them now. Because in the report, if you remember, I was talking about how all of these technology stocks, there's a big mania into them, and a lot of them are well overpriced. The share prices were obviously going to come back down. A lot of these companies are not justifying their share price. They're just the hot topic right now because they're 3D printing or they're artificial intelligence or their advanced robotics, and everybody's buying all that stuff all at once. And now it's already starting to fade back. I told you, wait for a lot of these to come back down to realistic values to get a proper valuation, get a proper price when you pay for the shares. So I'm going to take another look now that they've now done exactly what I told you they're going to do. A lot of them have fallen back a lot from the point when we put out the report. And now they're dropping into some really good buy ranges. So if you're a subscriber to the newsletter, you're going to get a review of all 12 of those. I'll tell you what's been happening with them and where they're going to go from here. And if you saw the stock report we put out the other day, that one did tremendously well, from $1 to $30 in about a year, and now it's back down to $1. So that report's telling you that it's time to get back in, not because the price is back where it was and what it did before, but because the groundswell of demand went one way and it turned around and came back down the other way. And then usually it's like a pendulum, it swings back and forth. This is the low point. There's a lot of buying at these levels, which was the point of the report, and that's why it's a great basement or a great floor price to get involved with the company, because it's probably going to go for another run, just like it did last time. We'll see. It was pretty lucrative last time. It might be another big one, a game changer, one of those you need once in your life. But even more encouraging is watching what's going on with gold. You notice that it'll go up a lot, and it'll come down a little bit, and it'll go up a little bit, it'll come down a little bit, but it's still hanging around. It just hit $2,900 an ounce a couple days ago. And when that happened, all the stocks went up tremendously, such as Newmont Mining went up 4% in a day. You got Barrick Gold, of course. But then a lot of the smaller and mid-sized miners were doing really well too. Even some of the development phase companies in the Golden Triangle in Canada, a lot of them, one of them went up 16% in a day. Gold prices are not going away. They're not coming down. And if they ever fall, I always tell you the same thing. Don't worry about gold. It's not going away. It's just readjusting on the path higher. Are gold prices going to break through 3,000? Of course they are. Are they going to hit 5,000? Yes, they will. It's just a matter of positioning yourself now to benefit from it. And a lot of the questions that you guys are asking, which I'll address right now, many people have said to me, well, is it too late? Should we get into these gold mining companies now? Which ones are still at a good value? I'll answer quickly for you here. They're all at a good value. They are all going to rise in price. What's happened is the product that they dig out of the ground has increased dramatically in price. Their profit margins are going to explode, and that's why you want to be invested in these shares. And at the same time, for some reason, while gold prices were going higher, a lot of these mining companies are actually declining in price because people are not recognizing the value in them. So you've got an imbalance where you can easily get into some of these companies that even if they've gone up 50%, 100%, they've got a lot higher to go. And some of them are still not even up very much at all because people are misunderstanding the real true value of gold and the purpose of it. First of all, they're misunderstanding the real true value of these companies in terms of their worth for the share price. So you're paying $2 for a share that's probably worth about $6, $8, $9, and going to be worth more as gold does what I've told you for years consistently that is continually going to do. Gold is not at a destination, it's on a journey. That journey is much higher. And as it goes higher, the profit margins of these companies are exploding, and they're not recognized yet in the share prices. So it's unbelievable how high gold prices have gone, and there's still opportunities. There should not be, and soon there won't be opportunities. It'll be too late. It's not too late yet to get involved with some of these. So that's the other thing I want to do for you guys. I'm going to put out a total review of a lot of these gold mining companies that are Peter Leeds approved, that are in the right place. They're in diplomatically friendly regions. They've got really high-grade resources, paved roads, access to the ocean. They've got agreements with the Aboriginal groups in the area for the workforce even, and to allow them to basically desecrate the land to dig out the gold. And a lot of these big miners, like for example, Newmont Mining, yeah, they had some increases in costs because of inflation. They didn't control their costs well. I know all of that. But the thing is, it's not company specific, the overall issue here. Company specific would be Newmont Mining is spending too much money, wasting money, losing money, and so their share prices come down. It was across the board. And that's why the other day when Newmont went up 4%, you got 16% on some of these newer development phase miners. You've got 4%, 3% on Barrick Gold. All the mid-sized miners like Kinross, Fortuna, Avina Silver Mines, all of those, all like a flock of birds, rose together. It's an industry-specific recovery. And that's what you want to see. That's how you know that the overall complex of gold miners, precious metals miners, are being unfairly treated. And that's why they're moving like a flock of birds. And when people start realizing the value, the blazing, screaming value right in front of you, right here, when they realize that, that's when you see things like a 4% move in a company that's worth billions and billions of dollars. And it goes up 4%. Think about that. And I know that you guys are looking into silver a lot, and that's a great idea. Silver is a great investment, and it's going to have a big silver squeeze coming up, as I've explained exactly to you, is going to happen soon. But the thing is, you don't mine for silver. You mine in a place that might have a lot of silver, but you're pulling out gold, you're pulling out copper. There's nobody who's a specific, we only mine for silver. You don't find copper and throw it away. You just process a bunch of rock, and that's what's happening. And there's not a lot of high-grade, easy access mines available right now because they've all been basically spotted and developed over the years. But there are a few that I talked to you about in the newsletter that are going to be tremendous, that have somehow fallen through the cracks, where they have really high-grade mineral deposits. They're expanding the resource area. They're expanding the total amount of the resource. And the way a lot of these miners are going to win is by developing their mine, developing their processes, and then selling the entire company to a larger player. Barrick, Newmont are going to be feasting on a lot of these companies. It's actually less expensive for a lot of these bigger miners to let the smaller mine discover the gold, delineate it, find out, go from probable to proven resources, and then they just get bought out by the bigger player. It costs less to buy out somebody who's found the gold than to search for it yourself, because there's not a lot of good resources or finds that haven't been searched for. Almost every area in the world has been saturated with exploration. It's not like someone's going to come along and find a really good high-grade gold mine right on the surface. You can do an open pit mine to bring it out. That's not going to happen anymore. That's the old days. We've already passed that point. So a lot of these companies are just acquiring the smaller ones. So a lot of these smaller ones, when they get acquired, the acquirer usually has a little bit of a drop in share price depending on the size of the asset that they absorb. But the one getting acquired almost always has at least a 40% pop in price in an instant. And you can see even more than that for a lot of these companies. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through all the precious metals mining companies that I like, and I'm going to put it all out in this upcoming report. Just give me a couple of days to get to it, because as you can see, I'm in Detroit right now, so I lose a day of travel. Then when we go back, I'll lose a day too. About a week and a half or so, I'll have a full report. I'll give you a full review of the 12 modern technology stocks that I like. I'll also give you a review of my favorite, still yet to really move dramatically, precious metals miners. And there's plenty of them. Got a lot of them doing really well now. They're finally waking up. And this is the turning point. This is where you make a decision in the next couple of weeks what you're going to do, and you take action. I kept telling you recently in the letter to the Peter Leeds Insiders, I tell you on these videos, it's a time of waiting right now. There's too many moving parts, and there's so many things moving around right now. Sometimes the best move is just to wait. But I also told you that just give it a little bit of time, maybe a week or two, prepare yourself, and then I'm going to be telling you exact actions you can take, because this is a once-in-a-lifetime turning of the tide, a unique situation. There's going to be blood on the streets, and some people, like in the Great Depression, many people became millionaires because of the Great Depression. What I'm looking at are stocks that will do well, not just in spite of all the things that are going to happen, this big economic pivot. We're talking about stocks that will do well because of this big economic pivot. So give me a couple of weeks. I'm going to give you a full report to the newsletter subscribers of all of these modern technology stocks, another review of the 12 that I like and where they are now and if they're in a good buying range or not, and how high they could go. And you want to talk about how high they could go. You saw the stock pick I put in this last week. It went from $1 to, what was it, $64 or something like that. And it's come back down to $1. It's in a great buying range right now because a lot of the reasons that caused it to come back down have put these shares at such an undervalued level. I always tell you that the best time to buy anything is at a capitulation point. You'll never get something cheaper than at a capitulation point. Baby, you get thrown out with the bathwater. That's exactly what happened with this last stock pick right now. It went up massively, thousands and thousands of percent, and now it's come back down to an incredible buy range right above the floor in price, where if it drops beneath $1, jump out of shares. You got to have a stop loss. If it goes to 99 cents at all, you sell and you walk away. Take your little tiny loss. But otherwise, this one's going dramatically higher. And I'm also going to tell you of all these gold mining companies, precious metals miners, which ones I like most, and if they're at a good buy price or not, and how high they'll go as well. So bear with me for a couple of weeks. This will be a knockout report, which could change your life. I'm also going to do a big update on Yangaroo shares too, which are trading at 3 cents, I think. I got a lot to say about them. I'm not too happy with the management team. I'm not too happy with the company, but they still have possibilities here. I'll say it that way, but you got to read the update I provide to you guys. Right on. Enjoy the Super Bowl, and I'll talk to you super soon.